See the news Coluna do Fla just shared. West Ham distances itself from Lucas Paquetá. West Ham rules out Lucas Paquetá and decides to negotiate him, while Flamengo intensifies talks to bring the midfielder back. An article from O Globo newspaper brings information that the coach no longer wants to use Lucas Paquetá, and because of that has decided to negotiate the player. And now there's this expectation to negotiate quickly with Flamengo. Because he wants to go to Flamengo, there's no other way. He wants to come to Flamengo. José Boto also talked about this at Maracanã. First and last time I'm going to talk about Paquetá. It's well known, we're not going to hide that we really want to have Lucas Paquetá, and he really wants to come. But in every negotiation, there's a third party, and in this case, it's not me, and they're not very convinced about selling Paquetá. That's not what we're seeing in the news out there. We've made significant progress, although it's a very difficult negotiation with players at a very high level, so we're going to have to be patient. It's not like Football Manager, that old game, which even had an article about it on GE. Boto sees significant progress from Flamengo to sign Paquetá, but admits there is a financial obstacle. The financial obstacle is as follows. Pablo Rafael Rua revealed that the main financial obstacle between Flamengo and West Ham is this. The English club demands 40 million euros fixed, without goals and preferably paid up front. Flamengo agreed with the total amount, but proposes to pay in installments with attached bonuses and a small goal to reach that amount. Negotiations continue, but the Red and Black club has already accepted West Ham's requested amount, marking the main breakthrough. There's already an agreement on the amount. Okay, look, the negotiation continues. There are many things involved because we, as a Brazilian club, pay in installments. All the clubs pay in installments. There are a series of negotiations, of arrangements to be made which take their time. We wanted Paquetá here already, but we still really want him to come. The main obstacle is financial. We're talking about very large sums. A lot is said and 99% of it isn't true, okay? He says the following. We're talking about large sums, and it's true that we've already lowered them significantly. But there are many things, payment options and situations. And it's not just take this and give me the player. We're trying to sign a player who's at the top, and it's not easy. That's it, but it's getting closer and closer.
Mango wins and it's Friday. You're set to win $1 million. What a rhyme. Million picks returns on Paparazzo Rubro-Negro. QR code link for you to secure your points in the Benefits Club, which gives you your lucky number so you can compete for it. $1 million on Friday, $1 million on Friday. It's back here on Paparazzo Rubro-Negro. Million picks is back in full force. It's time for you to secure your $1 million on Friday. Can you imagine? With Mango winning again, everything is back to normal. Vasco is our regular customer and executioner. If you win, God willing, it could be $1 million plus club points and instant prizes up to 20,000 Rs. It's to blow the roof off. Come to the Million Benefits Club.
Good evening. I wanted to ask you about the return of the main squad. First, I'd like you to talk about how you are physically. For you, would this be the best moment for the main team to return?
There's no such thing as the best moment. It's always a great pleasure, and we're always very happy to be on the field representing the sacred jersey. So we're happy to be able to come back in a derby, the derby of millions, and win. So regarding the physical part, I'm feeling good. Of course, we have some players who are still not at 100%, but I'm good. I played a lot of soccer, I took care of myself, and that's it.
Leo, still about the physical part. Here, what do you attribute this high-level comeback to Flamengo, which was widely dominant in the match? Just now, our colleague over there mentioned it. Having 32 shots to Vasco's 1 in a derby is highly unusual. Obviously, the game was also influenced in the second half by a sending off. There's that whole issue, but Flamengo was widely dominant here. Do you attribute this high-level comeback to anything in particular?
I'll have to repeat my earlier answer. We have a style of play, very clear ideas that have been passed on to us for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. Already by Filipe, and we're not going to stray from it. We're going to keep this style of play, regardless of whether it's the first game of the season. If we've only had a few days of training, and I said I was a little surprised by the numbers too. but we were looking for the goal the whole time, and I think that's a reflection of the consistent game we played.
Even though it wasn't the starting team today, keeping the whole team together helped with this comeback. Since you had little time to prepare during this preseason.
Yeah, there were some players who were left out, but we consider that we don't have a starting lineup. Everyone is important, everyone. Filipe always says that everyone can consider themselves a starter because he rotates the squad a lot and will need everyone. We have confidence, and so does he in everyone. Today, the kid from our youth academy trained and played well. Although he's a right back, he played on the left and deserves congratulations. He also made a big sacrifice there and played a great game. So you can see that we show more and more the strength of the group, the strength of this squad. Besides quality, we are very united for Flamengo and to support the institution.
Good evening. You many times last year talked about it would be different to start the season, already being at Flamengo, starting the season, doing preseason, starting the year at Flamengo. This year you get to start working with Filipe Luís right away. Does this already make a difference or impact, especially on today's match where your performance was praised? Has it influenced you, and how do you feel about returning early? People ask me, no?
No, definitely. When you come back to Brazil, it requires adaptation. I had a very serious injury before coming to Flamengo, and I had a bit of a complication. I got here and started playing very early. I didn't have a run of games at Milan, also because of the injury. But that's in the past. Now it's a new season, a new beginning, a new opportunity, and today I made the most of the opportunity. As I've always said, with preseason I can deliver much more. I also worked during vacation and only took about 10 days off. My wife wanted to kill me because she wanted to travel, and I said I wasn't going to travel, that I was going to take 15 days of my vacation to work, and that's what I did. And I believe that hard work pays off. So I was rewarded today on the field, and I'm going to keep going down this path.
Discussing my teammate giving a media interview, I noticed you all are really united at this start, more so than Flamengo shows online. I wanted to know how this beginning has been for Vitão and what it was like to share that left side of defense with him. Today,
Vitão and I played together on the national team a while ago and talked before he came here. I told him, brother, come, you'll be very happy here. Flamengo has top European level facilities, plays its own style, and is a major club. Come join. And he said, I'm going, don't worry, I'll be there in a week, I'll be there. And we talked a lot, man. When it came out that we were going to play, we talked a lot. He told me that we were going to have a great game, that God put this game in our path so we could shine on the field. He's a unique, phenomenal player with amazing ball skills. We used to say, don't let anyone, even the wind, get past us.
Don't tell them I'm here, okay?
Don't tell them I'm here, okay?
Very happy, very happy. First of all, because of my debut. There was no better way to debut than in a derby, right? With a win, and I'm happy. Man, playing alongside Leo, both Leos, right? Leo Ortiz, Leo Pereira, and Danilo too. National team players teach me a lot, and playing with them helps. I'm glad we kept a clean sheet and won.
So, Filipe de Bardello Portal play, what was it like for you to perform there? How do you think the partnership with Emerson Royal will work this season?
Royal's an old acquaintance. I've known him since I was 17 or 18. We get along great, right? In training, it's easy to play with him. Royal has amazing quality, strength, and reliability. I'm happy with his performance today. He played an amazing match, and I hope to keep helping him in the best way possible.
So, first time at Maracanã playing in Flamengo's jersey with the fans shouting your name. Did you get a taste of it? Does it leave you wanting more? How was it?
It's definitely different. I've played at Maracanã before, but wearing Flamengo's jersey now feels completely unique. I'm grateful for the welcome and hope to help the team succeed on the field.
In ILS. First, congratulations on your performance, right? First game of the season, and we could already see how Flamengo is coming for this year, for 2026. Since I'm starting the press conference, I'd like you to talk a little about how the decision was made in yesterday's meeting with BAP and with Boto to make this decision to change the planning, to put the main team on the field today. Thank you.
A meeting that happens every week, whether by phone or in person. We always talk and the interests of the institution are always above any planning. The club understood that it was the best, and we always have to follow what is best, the best for the club. I've always done that here, and so have BAP and Boto. We are people with a lot of courage, because making decisions at this level requires a lot of courage, and it's very simple. It's a decision that we all made together. In the end, we took all the risks and kept moving forward.
Filipe Roque Hudson, from the Fla Passado column. I asked you a question during the Federación Internacional de Football Association break. You mentioned this team is very different when given 7 to 10 days to train. Flamengo trained for about 9 days, and their performance was excellent. Before the sending off, there were 13 shots. What impressed you the most, even though you follow the training? What about Flamengo's performance physically impressed Filipe Luís the most, and how did it differ from training to the game?
It doesn't impress me, because I already know the players, I already know how they handle things. The ambition these players have to play, to perform, to have fun on the field, you put it well. When the team has time to train, they develop ideas and understand all concepts. Today, even though it was a game with a high number of shots, there are still things to improve. Yes, for sure, but it was a spectacular game. What I liked most was that the players took good care of themselves. They know how important it is to take care of their own bodies and the quality they have. Only up close can you understand the level of players we're talking about today in Flamengo's squad. It's a very high level and an exceptional game.
Felipe here, good evening. I wanted you to talk a little about how the relationship between the medical department and the coaching staff was, so that you could have these specific players available. Did you receive some kind of spreadsheet with how much time each player could play, what their situation was? Because last week, the medical department held a press conference and said they were closely monitoring each athlete's situation. I wanted to know how it was, how it went to set up the team for today's game. Thank you.
Well, always. It's called transdisciplinary, right? We always try to talk to all the departments, then we have the reports. But in the end, it's me who uses my judgment there and talks to the players. I understood each one's situation. Some were available, others weren't. Some weren't ready or didn't feel ready to start or to play more minutes. But it's everyone's job, very detailed work, from physiology to physical preparation. It's very detailed physical work. And it's no coincidence that our team reached the World Cup final in overtime against the best team in the world, running and without injuries. So I'm very proud of my physical trainer.
FLAPA, good evening, Gabriel Orfan, Paparazzo Channel, Rubro-Negro, Filipe.
I want to get away from today's game a little bit, because this is the first press conference you're giving with your new contract, your renewed contract. How was it for you dealing with the end of the year and the uncertainty about your contract? We saw the news, especially from the foreign press, that your name was on the list of several European clubs, especially Chelsea, after Enzo Maresca left. How was that? You experienced this during your contract renewal. What are your expectations for this new chapter at Flamengo? Thank you.
Well, like I said last year, I wanted to stay at Flamengo. They wanted me to stay. And from what I understood, the fans also wanted me to stay. So the interest was there. We're not easy people. I'm not. BAP isn't. Boto isn't. And neither are the agents. That takes time, but in this whole process, it went off track. What I heard there really made me very sad. The coaches or players who want to make decisions. You can't be either a mercenary or kicked out the back door. It can't be both ways. So I think first you have to wait for it to end, and then people can say what happened. But this prejudgment really hurt me a lot. It made me very sad with everything that happened, but I think it was best for everyone. I'm where I wanted to be. Like I've always told you, I never lie when I sit here. And I'm very happy to be sitting in this chair once again, putting everything I've done so far on the line. With new challenges and with renewed energy.
Filipe Victor Nicolau of Flamengo Television.
Close the door, sorry.
Congratulations on the victory today. Speaking about today's game, I noticed that Bruno, Henrique, and Pedro each played 45 minutes. So theoretically, in terms of workload, the load was very similar between the two. But the impression I got was that the intention of the game was to press Vasco when they were coming out, and to impose a difficult defensive transition on Vasco, who with Fernando Diniz usually has trouble defending transitions. Yeah, was that your intention with this rotation? Theoretically the opposite, imagining that Pedro would be the potential starter, or was it a matter of workload of Pedro being available at the moment?
That I have to praise. My captain Bruno, who's a guy that inspired the whole group to be available today, to have the energy they had today. And a lot of it comes from the attitude of a true leader. A true leader isn't measured by words, but by actions. And he was the first to make himself available. Even when he wasn't in his best condition, he said he would be available. He played a game because he arrived at 7 minutes and he overcame it. It was good between them, and both are spectacular idols and still want to make history.
Filipe, good evening. Congratulations on the victory. You mentioned in your first answer about the planning of the meeting that everyone together decided for the good of the institution, and you talk about taking risks. What risks are being taken? In this return, let's say earlier than expected, with the team still in the process of preparing for the season and already thinking about the game against Fluminense, is there already a plan for Sunday's match as well? Is the idea to rotate, to bring back fresher players? What are you thinking? Thank you.
Preparation for the Fluminense game begins tomorrow. There is always a risk, and in the first plan that was made, there was also a risk, and those risks happened in a negative way, where for the institution it was important to change that plan with other risks. They all have risks, including last year. I told you here at last year's Carioca that I was going to use the Carioca as a preseason tournament to improve the players' physical condition. With the risks that came with that, we ended up winning the Carioca, but there was a risk. I told you maybe my job was on the line, but I wanted to take that risk. So every decision, like I said, requires a lot of courage from the people here to make. And luckily we're courageous people and we take on the risks that come with it and face them.
Felipe Isaac Andrade Flavoy, I'd like to revisit this topic. You mentioned risks, but I want to focus on the word you used, courage. Today, the Carioca Championship is seen as Brazil's most charming, but there is also a movement of devaluation by a large part of the press and also by the clubs regarding these regional championships. They're less valuable than others or can be a hindrance. To me, this preparation highlights the risk involved. How do you see the state championships, the regional championships? Do they really have their moment, their glamour? Are they important or just the first? The first championship raises questions of courage and risk.
The state championships have a different significance for each state, for each club that wants to make them a priority. It's not a main goal for clubs, especially big ones aiming for major titles each season. I say this because it slipped my mind now, sorry. Let me remember, it slipped my mind. Wow, it slipped my mind, I even forgot. The question, can you repeat the question, please?
It's about valuing the first championship and considering the risk. You also questioned what courage really means.
No, because the Carioca Championship and state championships have value based on each club's perspective. And with the trend of reducing dates, we don't know what will happen, if they'll continue to be important, if they'll continue in 20 years, if the state championships will still exist. We don't know that because Honestly, everyone knows how complicated the schedule is, the risk and the courage. It's exactly because these dates are so tight and because we're paying the price for last year's success to reach the Club World Cup final and already have the championship starting now. So it's about calmly facing the competition. If we're wearing Flamengo's jersey, we always have to give our best.
Filipe Reis from Simplicia. Here we're still at the beginning of the season. Flamengo has added 2 new players during preseason. One debuted today, and along with Andrew brought by Vital, we've been keeping track. Boto himself talked today about the negotiations to bring Lucas Paquetá. I would like you to talk about the importance of being able to bring Lucas Paquetá and how much he would add to your team. And there's also talk about the possibility of signing a striker, but suddenly, by bringing in Lucas Paquetá, the striker could be left for the next transfer window. Is that part of your planning? Do you think you need a faster striker right now? How is that going? Is that it?
I was going to say, did you talk to the ideal person to talk about the squad, which is Boto? He is the person responsible, along with the president, for assembling the squad. Our squad is strong, so any new players must meet our high standards. Paquetá is a West Ham player, so as long as he is a West Ham player, I have absolute respect for the club he belongs to now. But we know all the love the fans have for him.
Good evening, Filipe Bruna Medeiros from Disfla. Today, you used the main team players except for Daniel Sales, who was the player with the least experience on this occasion. I wanted you to explain your choice for him, discuss his traits, and mention how he played out of position.
Why did you pick him for the left? Thanks.
He played on the left practically the whole last season, and Royal hadn't played on the left side for a long time. He hadn't played on the left side. On the left back, Alex wasn't in condition to start the game, and it wasn't planned for him to play for a long time either. I trust Salles a lot. He was my starting fullback when I coached the under-20s. He's a player who's already ready, who has things to improve, but he's a player who's already physically ready. He's an important player, has a lot of quality. You all know that. And unfortunately, he got caught up in this criticism, which was widespread because he lost games with the under-20 team. And I trust many players who are there, and it's not because they lost 3 games that they're terrible. And as was mentioned, there are many players who are indeed good enough and whom we are always watching closely, so Salles is one of them. The competition has always been very tough. Last year it was Wesley Varela. After Wesley left, Royal replaced him. There wasn't space before with 3 left backs, but this year he got an opportunity. You can see he's already ready.
Felipe. Noite, Rodrigo Cerqueira from Grupo GLOBO of all the achievements you've accomplished at Flamengo. One was completing a full season after taking over the previous year, something that hadn't happened in a long time. And the game Flamengo played today, despite very little training time, very little physical preparation time especially, it seemed like it's a team that knows exactly what it's doing. And that probably helped you a lot with this physical deficiency at this moment. How important is that for you? Maintaining continuity in Brazil, keeping the staff, coach, and squad isn't easy. Most players on the field this year also played together last year, and with so little training time. It looked like a team already in the middle of the season, knowing what to do on the field, taking few risks. Everything Flamengo showed last year in much better physical condition throughout the year.
I liked your question. The team? The importance of keeping the coaches, because the players, besides talking about me, but it's about knowing that the players know what I like, what I ask of them. They know what they have to do on the field. It's already been a year and a few months that I've been asking for the same thing, with specific adjustments depending on each game plan. That's a strong team. Recently it got dark during practice, but I said we didn't need lights since the players already know how to play and position themselves. We could have trained without them. So that's something I like to tell them. They feel it too. They themselves already recognize the solutions we train and give the solution to the coach. And that makes me very happy. And that's also why I'm very honored to keep leading this group and sitting in this chair here. which is the most pressured chair in the world.
This is Filipe. Good evening, Marcos Martins from Canada, QCRN. Congrats on the win. I wanted to ask about Flamengo's aggressive marking, their high pressing, and determination to pressure after losing the ball. I wanted to ask you if that was fundamental for Flamengo to have such broad dominance over Vasco, to be able to pin Vasco back in their own defensive half. Due to Vasco's defensive intensity and struggles building from the back, did you notice many technical errors from Vasco? I wanted to ask you about your assessment of this strong defensive marking performance.
First, because of the energy the players put into the high pressing, and second, because they regained their strength. That break to stop the body, because after an 11-month season, the team no longer had the strength to press. At the end of last season, we lost the ball in some games, like against Pyramids in the second half, Cruz Azul in the first half, and the team just didn't have the same strength. So making that break is often very important. We didn't have it because of the Club World Cup, and the players recover that strength and energy to be able to press. My goal now is for them to be able to maintain it, for them to reach their best physical level so they can perform this way for longer. That's my main challenge.
Felipe, good evening, Pedro Ramos from Sintonia Esportiva. 2 quick questions. Leo Ortiz came in today in place of another defensive midfielder. He played as a defensive midfielder under Taite, mostly as a center back with you, and today returned to midfield. Check if rotating Vitor more is your idea to help him fit with Leo Pereira. Also, why did Plata switch to jersey number 19? Thank you.
No, Leo isn't a defensive midfielder and won't play that role under me. He's a center back, one of the best in Brazil and the world, in my opinion. And today, I was undecided between him and Michael, who trained very well as a defensive midfielder during this week. Since we had an extra player and were ahead, I chose to keep a solid structure with him doing his job. It was actually a setup with 3 center backs. But I don't see him as a defensive midfielder. He doesn't compete for that position, and he won't compete for it, unless we really need him to make that sacrifice. So Vitão competes for a spot with Danilo, with Leo, and with Leo. I really liked Vitão's game. Sorry about Plata. I had no idea. Didn't even know until I saw today he changed his jersey.
Hi Felipe, this is Sergio Lobo. I wanted to know a detail about the planning, going back to talking about planning, which is the following. We're going to have a break for the World Cup, and until then, 18 rounds of the Brazilian Championship will be played. The 19th will be 50 days later, that is after the World Cup, another period. Flamengo's preparation, specifically Flamengo's, is kind of full on for this period, until this break for the World Cup. And then there will be a restart for those 50 days after the second half of the year. Just a quick note about your outfit. People are seeing your new look for the first time today. Will this be your uniform for the break season?
About the clothes, no, the clothes, you know very well, I like to make decisions about clothes, but wasting time choosing clothes is hard. So my wife was the one who put together this look for the Carioca Championship. It's worth it. Yeah, that's it. I'm not an influencer, I'm not, but it turned out well. From what I saw in the photos, it's not wrong, no. But then it's that one. Now that one, after the World Cup, I told the players that my black jersey was riding up and my belly showed from playing so many games. So it was retired along with the pants and will stay stored at my house. I even forgot about it. Now the other one was really upset. It's something that happened at the World Cup. Yes, that's how it is sometimes, right? People are already thinking about the World Cup, and the coach is always thinking that he has to win. Otherwise, he'll be fired next week. So it's hard to think all the way to the World Cup. Our planning is based on finding the players' optimal physical condition. It's not about thinking about October, November, and so on. It's always about bringing the players to their best. He already has a very good World Cup memory because these are players who played 76 games. It's not easy to lose everything they gained last season. But the plan is to leave the players in perfect condition to perform what the coach asks for on the field. In other words, I ask a lot from them. Some players are very sacrificed, many within the game plan that I have, and they need to be in optimal physical condition to be able to perform that way. So that's where the planning comes in. It's not about getting to the World Cup. We'll see how the days go. We hope to have several players who will play in this World Cup. So when we get there, God willing, if I'm still sitting here, we'll make decisions. Thanks. Good night, everyone.